people from China make up one of the largest immigrant groups in the United States. While the number of Chinese immigrants in the United States peaked at almost 2.5 million in 2019, it fell to under 2.4 million in 2022, breaking a long period of growth. This decline was due in part to restrictions placed by the Trump administration on migration from China, with tighter visa rules for international students and foreign workers throughout 2020. Chinese immigration to the United States has a long and at times fraught history. The 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act was passed by Congress in response to anti-Chinese sentiment and organized labor lobbying and brought the arrival of Chinese workers to a near total halt. Emigration controls imposed by the Chinese government after World War II and the Chinese Communist Revolution limited mobility as well. In contrast, the 1965 removal of barriers for non-European immigrants to the United States was a game changer for increasing immigration, as were relaxed emigration controls by China in 1978 and improved U.S.-China relations. The number of Chinese immigrants residing in the United States nearly doubled from 1980 to 1990. And again by 2000. Since then, the population has continued growing but at a slower pace. Despite the recent declines, Chinese immigrants still represent the third largest origin group among U.S. immigrants, after those from Mexico and India, accounting for 5% of the 45.3 million immigrants in the United States as of 2021. The Hong Kong-born population in the United States is far smaller than that from mainland China. There were 80,000 Hong Kong-born immigrants in the United States in 1980, a number that more than doubled to about 204,000 in 2000, and then increased further to 248,000 by 2021. Today, Hong Kong-born immigrants make up about 10% of the 2.4 million Chinese immigrants in the United States. China is the main source of foreign students enrolled in U.S. higher education, and its nationals received the second largest number of employer-sponsored H-1B temporary visas in fiscal year 2021, after Indians. Chinese nationals also received 54% of the 2,900 immigrant investor visas issued in 2021. The United States is the top destination for Chinese immigrants worldwide, accounting for about 28% of the 8.6 million Chinese living outside China, Hong Kong, or Macau, according to mid-2020 estimates by the United Nations Population Division. Other popular destinations include Canada 930,000, South Korea 803,000, Japan 776,000, Australia 764,000, and Singapore 514,000, compared to the overall foreign and native-born populations in the United States. Chinese immigrants tend to be significantly better educated and are more likely to be employed in management positions. They are also more likely to obtain lawful permanent residence, also known as getting a green card, through their work, but are less likely to be proficient in English. Income and poverty among Chinese migrants. Data from the Migration Policy Institute paints a seemingly contradictory picture. In 2021, Chinese immigrants boasted a median household income of $78,000, exceeding both the foreign-born population's $70,000 and native-born households' $67,500. However, the poverty rate within the Chinese immigrant community also shows a surprising trend. In 2021, 15% of Chinese immigrants lived in poverty, slightly higher than the overall immigrant population 14%, and the native-born population 11%. Many Chinese immigrants come with advanced degrees and specialized skills, making them competitive in high-paying professions like science, technology, engineering, and business. MPI data reveals that 60% of Chinese immigrants are employed in these occupations, compared to 37% for the overall foreign-born population. Distribution by state and key cities. Roughly half of Chinese immigrants reside in just two states, California 32%, and New York 19%. The top four counties by concentration in the 2017 to 21 period were Los Angeles County in California, Queens County in New York, Kings County in New York, and Santa Clara County in California. Together, these four counties accounted for 26% of the overall Chinese-born population in the United States. As of 2017 to 21, the Greater New York City, San Francisco, and Los Angeles metropolitan areas had the largest number of Chinese immigrants. These three metro areas were home to 43% of Chinese immigrants. The largest concentration of Chinese immigrants in the United States lives in the New York-Newark Jersey City metropolitan area, with an estimated population of 498,000 Chinese immigrants. This represents 2.5% of the total metro area population. California has three metro areas ranking high in Chinese immigrant population. The San Francisco-Oakland-Berkeley metro area has 271,000 Chinese immigrants, which is 5.7% of the total metro area population. The Los Angeles-Long Beach-Anaheim metro area has 270,000 Chinese immigrants, which is 2.0% of the total metro area population. The San Jose-Sunnyvale, Santa Clara metro area has a Chinese immigrant population of 188,000, which is 5.5% of the total metro area population. Several other major metropolitan areas in the United States have significant populations of Chinese immigrants. The Boston-Cambridge-Newton metro area has an estimated Chinese immigrant population of 102,000, which is 2.1% of the total metro area population. The Seattle-Tacoma-Bellevue metro area has 78,000 Chinese immigrants, which is 2.0% of the total metro area population. Unauthorized immigrant population. Although most Chinese immigrants in the United States are legally present, approximately 390,000 were unauthorized as of 2019, according to Migration Policy Institute estimates, comprising around 4% of the 11 million unauthorized immigrants in the United States. As of September 30, 2022, 640 immigrants from China or Hong Kong participated in the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, accounting for a tiny share of the total 589,660 recipients. DACA provides temporary deportation relief and work authorization to unauthorized migrants who arrived as children and meet the program's education and other eligibility criteria. Immigration pathways and naturalization. In 2021, 56% of Chinese immigrants in the United States were naturalized U.S. citizens, compared to 53% of all immigrants. Compared to the foreign-born overall, Chinese immigrants are more likely to have arrived in the United States recently. 35% came in 2010 or later. In 2021, China was the third largest country of origin for new lawful permanent residents, also known as green card holders, after Mexico and India. Approximately 51,000 of the nearly 740,000 new were from mainland China, Hong Kong, or Macau, compared to all new green card holders. Chinese immigrants were much more likely to obtain the status via employment-based preferences. In contrast, Chinese immigrants were less likely to obtain green cards as immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, 33%, compared to 52% for all immigrants. There are significant backlogs for mainland Chinese applying for LPR status through employment-based and family-sponsored channels, due to annual per-country caps. In December 2022, Chinese applicants being processed for some types of family-sponsored green cards had been waiting since March 2007, while those being processed for some employment-related applications had been in the queue since June 2013. Chinese immigrants' median age is the same as that of the overall foreign-born population, 47 years, and higher than that of the US-born, 37 years. In 2021, Chinese immigrants were slightly less likely than the overall foreign-born population to be of working age 18 to 64, but more likely than the native-born population. Chinese immigrants tend to have considerably higher levels of education than the overall foreign and US-born populations. In 2021, 52% of Chinese immigrants ages 25 and over had at least a bachelor's degree, significantly higher than for immigrants overall and US-born adults, 34% and 35%, respectively. Notably, Chinese immigrants were more than twice as likely to have a graduate or professional degree, 30%, compared to 15% for all immigrants, and 14% for the US-born. The share of Chinese immigrants with a college degree is even higher, among those who arrived between 2017 and 2021. China remains the leading sending country of international students in the United States, In school year 2021 to 22, close to 296,000 students from China were enrolled in U.S. higher education institutions, according to the Institute of International Education, accounting for 31% of the 949,000 international students in the United States, and 30% of those enrolled in science, technology, engineering, and math or health fields. Chinese immigrants participate in the labor force at a lower rate than other groups. In 2021, 61% of Chinese immigrants ages 16 and older were in the civilian labor force, compared to 66% of all immigrants, and 62% of the native-born population. 60% of Chinese immigrants were employed in management, business, science, and arts occupations, a much higher share than among the overall foreign-born population and the native-born population.